To my UK friends in the rideshare business, firstly, congratulations on England advancing to the semi-finals. You now face New Zealand, and when you get over that hurdle, which I think you will win that game, you will face us, South Africa, in the finals. So I hope to see my UK friends against my South African Springboks in the final. The title of this video, Uber faces 3 big problems in London. I thought it was a very interesting article that I could read to you. Love those UK cabs. I've seen a couple on Los Angeles streets. Interesting that people actually import them here to the United States. Hot commodity. Uber has a big problem in London. Actually 3 to be exact. The first is that it only got a 2-month license extension from Transport for London, the local taxi regulator. That's not a good sign. If you are supposed to prove and furnish that regulator with all the documents that they want, and Uber was hesitating, fighting them, well, this is what happens, right? When you come in with a stubborn attitude, you're going to get a 60-day window to comply, and that is almost over, right? So they're gambling big time, and they shouldn't. They should just comply with the regulators and get a nice 2 or 5 year extension. But if you want to fight, this is what you can expect. The second is the employment status of its UK drivers remains unresolved. A series of court rulings has deemed them workers, a third category of employment that exists in the UK with rights between those of an independent contractor and a regulator employee. The latest decision finding UK drivers to be workers. So same thing that happened here in California. It's going to have a ripple effect, as we said, throughout the United States and abroad. It already is showing up right here in the UK. The latest decision finding UK drivers to be workers who qualify for rights like minimum wage and paid time off came from the Court of Appeal in December 2018. Uber has appealed to the UK Supreme Court. This is how serious Uber is taking it. They are willing to throw a ton of money and fight for one of their top international markets, namely London, and take the matter to the UK Supreme Court. The third problem is that Uber could end up receiving a very nasty tax bill. In the full accounts for Uber London Limited filed last week, first spotted by Isabella Kaminska at FT Alphaville, Uber said in a note on contingent liabilities that it is involved in an ongoing dialogue with HMRC, which is seeking to classify the Uber group as a transportation provider. A change that would result in a VAT, which stands for value added tax, 20% on gross bookings or on the service fee that the company charges drivers both retroactively and prospectively. If they have to pay that retroactively, they are going to bleed. They are going to own a ton of money. I wonder how much that would be. But the bottom line is it's going to be very hard for them to get around the VAT of 20%. If they enforce the VAT 20%, my guess is the rider, the passenger, will have to face that 20%. So the company charges drivers both retroactively and prospectively. As I've already said, HMRC, short for Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Her Majesty, right? The Queen of England wants revenue and customs. Time to pay up, Uber. Is the UK department that handles most taxes, some benefits, and enforces the minimum wage. The tax thing is a big deal in many countries outside the US. Uber has kept rides cheap in part by skirting local taxes on goods and services. Uber defines itself as a technology platform that facilitates exchanges between consumers and suppliers rather than a direct provider of goods and services. That shifts responsibility for paying VAT to the suppliers, in Uber's case, the drivers who generate much less revenue and often don't meet the threshold for having to pay VAT at all. One estimate puts Uber's unpaid VAT bill at over £1 billion. Wow. And it goes on and on and on and on. I'm going to leave the link there for you. Hope they get this resolved. I don't want to see Uber London drivers lose their jobs over Uber's failures not to address these three matters. And stay safe, UK drivers out there. Sending you much love from the west coast of California. Reach out anytime you wish. Peace, Rideshare Professor.